I've always had a firm belief that people who have athletic backgrounds tend to grow and be very successful in their endeavors in life many times, particularly if you had a team sport or an individual team sport. I used to wrestle in high school. Extremely good at what I did. But here's the deal. The thing I like about wrestling is that it's a team sport, but it's also an individual sport, kind of like boxing, where the team can win and you can lose individually, or you can win individually and the team can still lose. But here's the thing. One of the key things with success, whether in athleticism, in business and finance and relationships, is to have a coach. So let's talk about last night. I know a lot of people saw Kelsey jump in the face of Coach Andy yesterday, and they even bumped him against the chest. So was that the best thing to do? Not necessarily, but understanding from being a high-level athlete, I understand the passion, the emotional aspect of the sport. So here's the deal. Many times people think that coaching is supposed to be this friendly environment, this fun-loving deal, but coaching ain't fun. Coaching ain't easy. Coaches are not supposed to be your friends. For a lot of folks that grew up, excuse me, a lot of folks that grew up that look like me, we've all heard this same saying in the house growing up. Our mamas would say, I ain't your little friend, I'm your mama. So, same thing with coaching. Your coaching is not there. Your coaches are not there to be your friends. They're not there to sing kumbaya and have all this fun, cuddly, loving stuff. They're there to get you to win, to achieve the goal that you set out for. So, it made me think about some of the coaches I had in life, business and athletic wise. But I want to take you on a quick journey through my athleticism. I'm not the biggest guy. I'm 5'6". The most I've ever weighed was 205. Back in my competitive bodybuilding days. In high school, I barely weighed 100 pounds in the 8th grade, 9th grade. So I went out for football one time in the 8th grade. My math coach, Mike Watkins, he was the football coach. I remember going out for the football coach and I got cracked one good time. I'm talking about I got the fire knocked out of my little ass. And I realized that football wasn't going to be for me. I said, no, this ain't going to work. So I would always see my coach. My coach, he was a short guy too. He's like 5'7", and little stocky little guy, Mike Watkins. But coach would always see my determination when I was out there for that week and a half for football camp. But he said, hey, listen, after football is over, wrestling is a sport that you may want to take a look at. But at the same time, basketball started. So let me give you my quick little journey about my LeBron dreams and hopes, I guess. Look, LeBron ain't born when I was in school, but I'm just saying. I went out for basketball, made the team. I was about 5'4" then, but I remember back then Converse was real big, and if you guys know the Converse symbol, the little angle with the little star. Well, my mom bought me some shoes that had two little angles, no star. The bottoms were hard plastic. When I stopped, I just kept skidding. Anyway, let's just say, long story short, basketball was my sport. So Coach Watkins was looking at me one day at basketball practice. He said, come over here. He said, come up here on this mat. He started working some drills with me. He started practicing. He started realizing like, oh snap, you're good at wrestling. Let me just teach you the fundamentals of the sport and you'll be great. So went on to become a great athlete in wrestling. Actually even got an invitation to the 92 Olympics. So here's the deal. Coach Watkins pushed me. He not only pushed because he's my math teacher also in 8th grade. He not only pushed me scholastically, but he pushed me athletically. And it wasn't pretty. He was always in my face. He was always hard on me, but it paid off. That first year I won county and I also won regional. Number one in the region. First year wrestling. So I'm gonna go to another coach. When I got in 10th grade, I changed schools and I had Coach Meso Moon. Coach Meso Moon has gone down in the Hall of Fame of top wrestling coaches in the state of Georgia. Coach Moon was extremely hard on us. We had an indoor pool. I think there's like only 2 other schools in the whole county who had an indoor pool, so it was very humid. And we had the stairs in there. It was a little runway, hallway, and 2 flights of stairs on both ends. Coach Moon would make us put on our trash bags, put on our sweats to make weight, to lose weight, to be able to condition ourselves. He pushed us. I'm talking about ran us and ran us and ran us. He actually ran us out in the neighborhood around the school the same route that the cross country team ran. Dude, we weren't track runners, but he pushed us so hard. Also, my other wrestling coach was Coach Ron Seabury. Coach Ron Seabury was the football coach. Both Coach Moon and Coach Seabury were both football coaches too. but they wore our tails out. It was never pretty. No practice was pretty. One thing I always remember about Coach Seabury, and I think everybody hated it, he would always come up to you because he had so many championship rings. He would always come up to you and hit you in the back or hit you in the back of the head, and those rings would just clunk right in the back of the head. And Coach Seabury was a strong dude. So, but they were both extremely hard on us. I want to talk to you about one of my first coaches in the sport of bodybuilding. He's my classmate, Phil Roberts. Philip was so hard on me. He would always trash talk me, and he would always, we had so much fun in the process. And Philip actually helped me get my first job. But Philip was extremely hard on me. He would make me lift weight when the bar was full of weights and there was no more room to slide weights on. We would actually tie weights onto shoestrings and ropes on the end of the bar, and he would make me go. He would spot me, but he would let that weight sit on my chest for 3 to 5 seconds before he would help me. But that was the culmination of me understanding how to push myself in the gym, how to become a top bodybuilder in the competitive world. Let's talk about Bilal Broadway. He was another one of my bodybuilding coaches. He took me to the next level. He took me to the level of, now let's really learn how to transform your body and make it a world-class physique. Had another coach who's IFBB pro, Rock Shabazz. He took me under the wing. Rock was never easy on me, ever. I remember we were leg pressing one day, and I ended up tearing a small muscle in my neck. That's how hard I was pushed. But Rock took me to a whole nother level beyond where Bilal took me. So then I started introducing myself to top athletes in the sport of bodybuilding. I got coaching in small increments from 5 different Mr. Olympias. And if you don't know anything about bodybuilding, Mr. Olympia is the king of the sport, the best person on the planet. First one to share a story, which I was in 10th grade, Lee Haney. He's 8-time Mr. Olympia. I used to work out at his gym, and I remember one day I was doing leg press. And remember, I was a little guy in school. I was leg pressing, and I had like 245 pounds on both sides. I'm talking about peanut weight. It's like 135 plus the sled. So I remember pushing, and I got stuck at the bottom. And all of a sudden it got dark, and I was like, oh my God, I'm about to pass out. And I remember Lee Haney reached over with one hand and just pushed the whole sled up with one hand. And he said, you need to get your weight up, little man. And that was my first time meeting Lee Haney at his gym. But just to see I'm struggling with my legs, and he just pushed something up with one hand, and he would give me tips in the gym. This was his first gym called Animal Kingdom back on Cortland Road, Cortland Street in downtown Atlanta, back in the late 80s and early 90s. So I started getting mentorship from Lee Haney. I ultimately ended up working at one of his gyms. So that was first Mr. Olympia. Second Mr. Olympia that helped me out was Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman is 8-time Mr. Olympia, who had the next longest, he tied the longest running straight Mr. Olympia wins right behind Lee Haney. Ronnie Coleman would give me advice. He would show me different things. I remember he would come to Atlanta and train at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I would be able to go down and meet him at the gym and get training tips from him. The best in the sport. Next, we had Dexter Jackson. Dexter Jackson was 2008 Mr. Olympia. Dexter Jackson gave me words of wisdom, tips, tricks on how to be able to build a world-class physique, particularly being a shorter bodybuilder. Dexter Jackson was about 5'7", 5'7.5". He's short in the sport, but he became #1 in the sport. Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler, I think he was 4-time or 5-time Mr. Olympia. I learned a lot of things from Jay Cutler, getting some wisdom of the sport. But again, the advice was not friendly. The advice was not kumbaya. Who else I had? Good God, Phil Heath. Phil Heath was 7-time Mr. Olympia, right behind Lee Haney, right behind Ronnie Coleman. One of the best physiques that ever walked the planet in the sport of bodybuilding. Same thing, got different mentorship, different words of advice there. So my whole point that I want to talk to you guys about is that mentorship or coaching specifically isn't going to be pretty most of the time. Now, are there fun moments? Yes. But your goal is to win. Your goal is to get result. You can't focus on attempting to be friends or to think we're going to hang out and buddy. All of my athletic coaches, all my business coaches, it's strictly for coaching, and we're out. Do I have relationships? Do I have family and friendly relationships with them? Absolutely. But it's not that we just hang out, doing stuff because they are there in place to be my coach in that specific area of life. Whether it's relationship coach, whether it's spiritual coach, whether it's financial coach, whether it's business coach, whether it's athleticism. So in life, figure out what it is that you need coaching in. Because here's the deal. Everybody needs coaching in different areas of our lives. Get the best coach. Get the coach that's going to be best suited, that's going to get you the result. And that's what you witnessed yesterday when you saw that the Chiefs were in a predicament in the first half. They just didn't have their head together. They wasn't playing right. The coach, man, Coach Andy been to this. He been to this dance many times. He was cool, calm, and collected as he always is. Kelsey wanted to get a ring. I understand that. Coach stayed mild-mannered. He went up, bumped the coach and everything, but you saw the end result. The coaching still prevailed because a lot of times Mahomes is on the field. He sees stuff from the field level that can't be seen from the sideline. But at the same time, the coach on the sideline can see stuff that Mahomes can't see in the game. He got a big line in front of him. He can't see past a lot of these big guys. And Mahomes pretty tall. But you talking about 300, 400-pound guys in front of you, and when they stand up, you definitely can't see stuff. So you got to rely on what the coach is telling you on the sideline. Then again, there's things that even the coach on the sideline can't see that they can see up in the press box, looking down at a different vantage point that they're relaying. Why y'all think they got on headsets? Everybody's communicating. Coaches have coaches on the field. So as you progress through 2024 and you're wanting to hit your goals, and I know we're halfway through February. Some people may say, well, Sean, I am so off track for my 2024 goals. That's okay. Get back on the horse, saddle up, and let's go. Get a coach. That's probably the difference between not making your goals and making your goals. So if you're off track, it's probably that you just need to get a coach. You need mentorship in that particular area. So that was my journey real quick on my athletic coaching over my years that converted over to business. The same techniques I use athletically, the same mindset, is the same mindset that allows me to succeed at the highest levels that I succeed right now in business and finances. So guys, if you want to link up, I got a link down in the comment section. Let's connect. Let's get on the calendar. If it's not a good fit to be a coach with me, then get a coach with somebody that can help you achieve your goals.